and equal amount of my morning greetings to all the people from the school health no section. Hitik na hitik sa kaganapan ang school health section starting last Monday where we launched the OK sa DepEd, the One Health Week launching of Oplan sa kalusugan sa DepEd. So congratulations to the leader of the school health section, Dr. Vince Aliman. So through the coordinatorship of Nurse 2, Jesusa D. Gomez. And of course, to all the school nurses who have been supporting all the way to all the activities that has been conducted by the school health section. Congratulations. And of course, we will not also forget to give our morning greetings to all the participants attending in the virtual platform. So I hope that you will stay until the end of the session within the day, because I believe that you can get many things, no? You can learn many things that would be very essential as we are facing, no, as we are dealing with our students or learners every day. So this is an orientation of the National Drug Education Program, and I believe that most of us are aware since we've been doing this activity ever since. But we need to be reoriented so that the flame, no, the flame that we are holding, no, as we implement this activity will continue to light on, so that we will never be staying in a place where we will be stagnant in terms of implementing this NDEP in the respective stations, respective schools, I should say. Anyway, all the things that we are doing, we are always banking on the statement of prevention. So it is very important that we know in-depth ed will serve as instrument in order to prevent problems related to drugs. And this particular prevention, the activity that we are having this morning, is in connection on how to prevent minor or major problems related to drugs among our students. So we have this international standards on drug use prevention that is stipulated that prevention initiatives should target the various developmental stages and settings. So I just would like to inform everyone a little of the topics, no, a little of the topics that will be presented today. And I would like to give my share, especially on the things that would prevent drug, no, that would prevent illegal use of drugs among our youth, no. So this is the Philippines preventive drug education approach. First thing, the first thing that would help to prevent our young generations not to get indulged with drugs is a strong family ties. No, strong family ties. Accordingly, this is a key program, no, a key program implemented to strengthen the family as the first line of defense. So remember, ha? Family is the first line of defense against drug abuse. Yeah, this is a systematic training, no, for effective parenting, where parents, no, we need to get in touch with the parents. We need to inform them of something that would be beneficial in preventing our youth to get indulged in drug abuse. So remember, the first thing is family, the first line of defense against drug abuse. Second is the school, ha? After the family is the school. So the school, as the school is being tasked, no, to implement this program among the youth that is dubbed as Barkada Contra Droga. Now, Barkada Contra Droga, or in English, this is translated as peer group against drugs. So I just would like to reinform, not to reorient, especially those who are with us this morning, that this Barkada Contra Droga has been institutionalized to enlist the participation of more in and out of school youth, and eventually organize them into a movement of young people who are catalysts within their peer groups in advocating a healthy and drug-free lifestyle. So I believe this Barkada Contra Droga has been implemented in high schools, no, where in fact we have school in our division who has been an awardee in this particular program, itong Barkada kontra Droga. So we have to strengthen the implementation of this because the target clients for this are our learners, students, especially in the particular ages. So we can help in a way to let them stay away from indulging themselves into drug abuse. So after the family, the school, it is now the community. No? Ang community daw accordingly have been at the center. No? Community have been at the center of drug prevention and control. No? Family has been the center of drug prevention and control. And the most effective interventions are the ones that emanate from the community and are carried out by the community and intended for the community. So all of us, all of us present in this particular activity, may it either be you belong to the family, you belong to the school, and definitely we belong to the community. Because if we will be joining our hands together to prevent our youth to get indulged in drug abuse, definitely we will have a community that is very peaceful for us and a community that is worthy for us to live in. So that is all. Again, congratulations to the persons behind this successful activity. We do hope that we can get your undivided attention so that you can absorb the topics that we presented later on, and in return, you can transpire this to your respective stations. Thank you and mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Sir Ton, for always giving us your unwavering support to the different programs of Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd. And also thank you for always inspiring us. Since day one up to now, Sir Ton has always been with us with our different activities or our series of activities in Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd. At this time, for us to be able to know the purpose of this orientation here with us in the virtual platform, our very own, the very on-the-go nurse in charge of school health section of the DepEd Zamboanga del Sur Division, we have our very smart NIC Ma'am Nurse Amy Alonso.
Thank you, Queng. To our ever-supportive Schools Division Superintendent, Mama Harani M. Jacinto, our equally two proactive ASDSS, Sir Raymond Salvador and Sir Jerry Bukingkito, CID Chief, Ma'am Juliet Magallanes, and of course, to our SGOD OIC Chief, Sir Antonio O. Ganub, our Medical Officer 3, Dr. Vincent Crisberg A. Aleman, district supervisors, school heads, NDEP district and school coordinators, and NDEP program management team, a pleasant morning, everyone. Republic Act number 9165, other known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs of 2002, declares a policy of the state to safeguard the integrity of its territory and the well-being of its citizenry, particularly the youth, from the harmful effects of dangerous drugs on their physical and well-being. Corollary to Republic Act 9165, Article 4, Section 14 of DepEd reiterates its support in strengthening the National Drug Education Program through DepEd Memorandum Number 200 Series 2016 for its implementation in the schools and school community to create awareness on the provision of this law, on the participation of the families, students, teachers, community, and school authorities in the enforcement of this act. Thus, DepEd issues series of DepEd orders, memoranda, to ensure the effective implementation of the National Drug Education Program, which aims to develop well-rounded learners equipped with resistance skills against risky behaviors that could lead to substance use and abuse. Today's orientation on the National Drug Education Program, school implementation for districts, NDEP coordinators, and school NDEP coordinators generally aims to educate the people about the hazards of illegal drug use, not only to oneself but also to the society, thus strengthening our fight against illegal drugs. At the end of this orientation, participants will be able to acquire knowledge and skills necessary to avoid risky situations and information to make healthier personal choices to resist drugs. Another objective, to grasp a clear understanding on the 5 components of NDEP for school implementation. Improve communication between teachers and learners through developing skills for listening and resolving conflicts. Create awareness on the illegal effects of abusing drugs. And last but not the least, carry out activities related to drug prevention and control of the respective school plan. So guys, may you attentively listen to the different speakers for the different topics to be discussed. And once again, good morning.
Daghang salamat, Ma'am Amy Alonzo, for stating to us the purpose and the objective of today's virtual orientation. For now, we will now come to the orientation proper of this National Drug Education Program. We will be having our first topic, which will be a thorough discussion on the DepEd Order 12 series of 2009, strengthening the NDEP in school implementation. To give us the discussion for this morning's first topic, we have our very active and very hardworking program holder of the NDEP program, of the National Drug Education Program of DepEd Zamboanga del Sur. We have nurse Susa Gomez.
Thank you very much, Nurse Kirsten Sabanal, for the warm introduction. So before I start with my topic, I will take this opportunity to give my salutation and gratitude to the top management for allowing us to conduct this virtual orientation on National Drug Education Program. So with respect to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani M. Jacinto, to our 2 Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, Dr. Raymond M. Salvador and Dr. Jerry C. Boquinquito, and to our CID Chief, Dr. Juliet Magallanes, and of course to our very own SGOD Chief, OIC, Dr. Antonio Oganub, to our NI Medical Officer 3, Dr. Vincent Christberg A. Aliman, to our dentists, to our NIC, Ma'am Amy E. Alonzo, to our nurses, supportive nurses, to our participants, the district and schools, and the coordinators, and of course, to our school heads. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome once again to our virtual orientation. So my topic is about National Drug Education Program per se. This is on how we are going to implement this in our different schools or respective schools. So before, so the Department of Education has already a long history of active involvement in anti-illegal drugs initiatives. So under this law, on RA 6425, the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1972, the department was already mandated to integrate in the curricula of all public and private school instruction on the adverse effects of the dangerous drugs, including their legal, social, and economic implications. Therefore, in response to this mandate, the department had already created a program called this COSDAP, the Comprehensive School-Based Drug Abuse Prevention Program. So which involved the development of instructional modules and trainings on leadership, effective parenting, and curriculum integration. Then DepEd issued DEX, Memorandum number 388, series of 1995, which institutionalized the National Drug Education Program in schools. So from COSDAP to NDEP. So it was Secretary Ricardo T. Gloria during the time, of Secretary Ricardo T. Gloria. So the NDEP was intensified further after the passage of RA 9165, or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. So the RA 6925 was already amended into RA 9165. So let's go back first. So that was 6425, RA 6425. It was amended to 9165. So here under, in Article 4, Sections 42 to 45, so it referred to education. So in Section 42, it states the student councils and campus organizations. So program for the prevention and deterrence in the use of dangerous drugs. So referral for treatment and rehabilitation of students for drug dependence. So in RA 43, which is the school curricula, so this is being strengthened in DepEd Order number 30, series of 2018, in support to the National Drug Education Program. So this is the Preventive Drug Education Program policy for curriculum and instruction. So this is the instruction on drug abuse prevention and control. Again, this is being stated to in DepEd Order number 30, series of 2018. Then in Section 44, DepEd to support NDEP with the school officials fully responsible for effective implementation. And who are these school officials? They are our school heads, supervisors, and teachers. So they are the persons in authority in our respective schools. Then in section 45, publication and distribution of materials on dangerous drugs. So this is already the information dissemination of our NDEP or IEC materials on NDEP. Then in 2003, DepEd order the Department of Education issued DepEd Order number 5, series of 2003, which is promulgating the implementing rules and regulation of RA 9165. So this is being issued to create awareness on the provisions on the law and on the responsibilities of teachers, school administrators, and students in the implementation of the law. Then, in 2009, the Department of Education again issued DepEd Order number 12, series of 2009, which is the strengthening of the National Drug Education Program implementation in schools. And then it is being reiterated in 2026, which the Department of Education issued DepEd Memorandum number 200, series of 2016. Still, the strengthening of National Drug Education Program implementation in schools. So pursuant to Section 43 of Article 4 of RA number 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. So again, I have already mentioned a while ago that this Section 43 of Article 4 of RA number 9165, that the Department of Education reiterates its support to the National Drug Education Program NDEP with the school head fully responsible, underscore school head, fully responsible for its effective implementation. So you can see this in DepEd Order number 30, series of 2018. So now let's go to the definition of this National Drug Education Program. So it is a comprehensive educational program that provides for a holistic approach to the problem of drug abuse. So when we say holistic, the totality, so to provide support that looks at the whole person, such as the physical, emotional, social, mental, and spiritual well-being of a person. So it was designed to enable all sectors to work collaboratively with the school system as the core, thereby unifying all sectoral endeavors. So we have to work collaboratively to all sectors. The non-government sectors, the government sectors, the local government units, barangay, the community, other sectors that involve in the prevention and control of these dangerous drugs. So we have this National Drug Education Program objectives. So what are our objectives here? So number one is to prevent drug abuse among students through development of desirable values, attitudes, and practices. As we can observe, we have hung our and the corner in our respective schools, right? Have you observed that those presentations of our and the corner are the values, attitudes, and practices that our students must instill in their minds and in their hearts. Okay. Number two is maximize utilization of school resources which can contribute to the child's cognitive, effective, and psychomotor development relative to drug abuse prevention. So next is the strengthen parent and community participation through viable linkages with multi-sectoral organizations involved in the anti-drug abuse campaign. So we have again our parents, teachers, community associations, our barangay, our even our religious sectors in our community, the BADAC, and so on and so forth, for those other sectors or to strengthen our campaign against this illegal drugs. Number four is to provide in-service training of teachers and other school officials to enable them to help young people enhance their life skills which relate to the prevalence of drug abuse. So take note of this life skills. So I guess this our district and the coordinators are already familiar with this life skills that they have undergone last week. So I guess you already appreciated the importance of life skills in even in our own selves and to our students. Okay? And number five is initiate researches and studies. Actually, these objectives are related to the five components of National Drug Education Program. So these are the five components. Number one is the curriculum and instruction. So this is the integration of drug education in learning areas. Again, this can be seen, or we have this DepEd Order number 30 series of 2018. So dito talaga naka-emphasize on how are you going to implement this integration in the curriculum and instruction. So try to check on this on DepEd Order number 30 series of 2018. I'm always trying to emphasize this, that you can see this in this law, in this DepEd order. Number two is the curricular and ancillary services. We will explain this later on, one by one. Then the staff development, parent education and community outreach, and then the number five is the monitoring, research, and evaluation. Okay, so those five components, it is being implemented in schools to create awareness on the ill effects of abusing drugs and to develop among students positive behavior and life skills to resist drugs. So, as I have mentioned a while ago, that life skills are abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that enable humans to deal with the demands and challenges of life. So I guess our district and DEP coordinators are now planning to cascade their training last week to their respective schools. Okay, this is life skills enhancement in the prevention of the dangerous drugs. So As you can see, in the curriculum and instruction, we have this series of, aside from the DepEd Order 30 that is being inclusive stated in that order. So we have also a series of activities that involves the curriculum instruction and in curriculum and instruction, So as you can see there, we have pictures that this already being integrated in the subjects of the different, different subjects in our curriculum. Okay, so we have the component 2, which is the curricular and ancillary services. So we have our leadership training, scouting, student organizations and clubs, health and counseling services. So that includes being included in component 2. And the Barkada Contra Droga, actually this is under the National Drug Education Program and school health, but it is already being transferred to the youth development section. But then we are still in support to this Barkada Contra Droga because this is also one of the flagships of the program of National Drug Education Program that strengthen the program. So as we can see, we have here a series of activities in the curricular, component 2. We have the scouting and lectures during the scouting. So it is already being integrated, especially the symposium for drug abuse, and then any other related activities on the National Drug Education Program. Okay? And then in component 3, which is the staff development. So we have our trainings and workshops. So we have conducted in the division of Zamboanga del Sur, we have conducted series of trainings before the pandemic, and even during the pandemic of last year, we have conducted this systemic training for effective parenting. So our participants of this training were the guidance counselors and the school health personnel. So I guess the guidance counselors were already plotting their schedule for the cascading of this step training workshop to their respective schools. So we will just wait for because they have already this action plan being presented to us. And then, and of course, to the recent conducted training, which is the life skills training enhancement in drug abuse prevention. So our participants were the district and DepEd coordinators, and they have also presented their action plan to do this cascading later on in your respective schools. So next is the teachers on the drug abuse prevention education. Again, it is being stated in DepEd Order number 30, series of 2018. Balik-balik si Ma. Okay, school admin on RA 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Act of 2002. So we have also the guidance counselors on their series of trainings related to the National Drug Education Program, and then conduct of NDEP conferences, and then training of trainers on universal prevention curricula. This will be emphasized and discussed to us later on by our trained nurse, Ma'am Jinky B. Bontog. Okay, so as you can see there, teacher and staff development, we had our trainings on STEP and um, life skills training. Actually, these trainings were given to us by the Dangerous Drugs Board because of our consistent um, in the lists of winners during the Barkada Contra Droga. Special mention to the Tambulig National High School. And our beautiful nurse, of course, Ma'am Jinky Bunto. Okay. Okay, for the next component, we have the parent education and community outreach. So during our training on systemic training for effective parenting, last year we have included our federated president on PTA president, I mean, on the training. So uh, they have also plans in cascading this step in their respective community. So training of parents on effective parenting. Okay, so involvement, who are these people who are involved? Again, in our objectives, in our that we have mentioned a while ago, that there will be an involvement and even the participation in the implementation of this program. So they are our partners. So we have the LGUs, the government offices, the non-government offices, and agencies, the DOH, DSWD, PNP, PDEA, so on and so forth. So those sectors, agencies that are involved in the prevention and control of these dangerous drugs. Okay, so we have this, as you can see, the pictures that we had during our seminar workshop on systematic training for effective parenting done or conducted by the Dangerous Drugs Board. And the last one, we have the research and evaluation. So some of our division personnel had their monitoring and evaluation. And of course, we have hoping that there will be a research to be done on this NDEP. So hoping and praying for proposed researches along this NDEP program, and then prepare other activities on this research and evaluation. We have already, as I have mentioned a while ago, that we have prepared NDEP action plan for the series of activities to be done during this school year 2022-2023. And then, of course, in our monitoring and evaluation, we have this monthly, yes, of course, monthly accomplishment report. And then the conduct of NDEP program implementation and review. If whatever activities or what we have done in support to the implementation of the National Drug Education Program in our respective schools. Okay. Of course, it is included in our respective classrooms, our NDEP corner. And then to move on with our and the reiteration of the DepEd Memorandum Number 12 Series of 2009. We have the DepEd issued again the DepEd Memorandum Number 200 Series of 2016. So it states that regional directors and schools division superintendents are therefore instructed to strengthen the implementation of the National Drug Education Program by intensifying anti-drug abuse information campaigns. So example, through media, print ads, to raise awareness on drug abuse prevention and control. We have also signages that are being posted inside or within or outside the school premises. Another is supporting the activities planned by the designated regional and division and DEP coordinators. So for those who were participants in our life skills last week, please present your plan of activities and your action plan to your respective school heads for its implementation for the school year 2022-2023. Okay, so, and of course, please include the participation in our DAPSI Week celebration. So this is being done every year on the third week of the month. So every third week of November, I mean. So we have different activities here along with the week-long celebration of this DAPSI Week. Another is involving PTCAs, the parent teachers and community associations, and student organizations in drug abuse prevention activities. So again, our collaboration among our stakeholders, this is again to strengthen in-depth implementation. And then we have the allocating funds for the replication of existing modules and teaching aids and or development of other supplementary instructional materials for drug education. So please incorporate NDEP as one of the priority programs of your school improvement plan or your SIP. So allocation of funds, of course, that will be from our MOOE. So next is, mobilizing all scout leaders to integrate drug abuse prevention in the training of scouts utilizing the drug abuse prevention integrated in scouting kit. So we call that kit DISC. So this is again to raise awareness in drug use prevention. So as I have presented to you a while ago, that we have also, before the pandemic, we have this scouting done in our respective schools. And then we have also this, we have integrated this in-depth activities during their scouting activities. Okay? And next is the collaborate. You have to collaborate closely with LGUs and other government offices and NGOs at the local level by what? Establishing linkages. Okay. So, in line line with the commitment of this department to the National Anti-Drug Plan of Action, so the NADPA, all concerned are requested to submit a monthly accomplishment report on drug abuse activities, or NDEP, using, I will be presenting to you the template of our monthly accomplishment. So reports shall be submitted to the district coordinator, from the school coordinators to your district coordinator on the third day of the following month. So whatever activities that you have done during the month, please submit that on the third day of the following month to your district coordinator. So consolidated accomplishment report from the district coordinator shall be submitted to the division office, to your division and NDEP coordinator on the 5th day of the following month. So third day from district to, from school to district, and then district to division on the 5th day. Then division accomplishment report shall be submitted before the 7th day of the following month to the regional office. So this is the template of our accomplishment report. Okay, as you can see that, so I will be giving out this accomplishment template, but I know most of you, if not all, have already submitted before the pandemic this template, this accomplishment report. So this one, may I ask if we can present the NDEP tools just for, sir, can we present the NDEP tools just before I end? So for them to see what are the reports to be submitted. And these NDEP tools can also be used for them as a guide. Okay, NDEP monitoring, that one. Is it presented? Okay. So aside from that monthly report that that I have shown to you just a while ago, we have this also, the monitoring tool for the preventive drug education. So the PDE. So we are utilizing this in our monitoring and evaluation. So just take a look at this. This template, you can see this in DepEd Order number 30, series of 2018, in the PDE policy for curriculum and instruction. So, sir, okay. So we have there the PDE signages, or the NDEP, the preventive drug education signages, or the NDEP signages that you have in your respective school premises. And then of course, the service centers. Some of the schools have already created their centers, their BKD centers, and then their NDEP centers. Of course, they have their guidance centers, the guidance counselor center, and the clinic centers. And of course, they have also this teen center, sorry, not teenage, teen centers in their respective schools. So most of the secondary schools have already these centers in their schools, no? The PD bulletin, presence of PD committee, the smoke-free zone. So we have signages that we have posted or there in our respective school premises. And then, of course, drug-free zone, no, say no to drugs, okay? So security guard, of course, we have that in our schools. And I hope we have this student's handbook the, with regards to the campaign on the prevention and control of dangerous drugs. And then we have, I will ask you, the NDEP coordinators, as much as possible, we have these different issuances on the preventive drug education. So we have this in our portfolios. So we have this, of course, the regional division school memos, the memoranda that we have. Please keep that in a portfolio. And then your action plan, and then the accomplishment reports. So please keep those documents, those reports inside portfolio. The different issuances related to the dangerous drugs prevention and control. So we have series of that. Of course, the RA 9165, the DepEd orders that strengthen the implementation of the National Drug Education Program, the DepEd order number 12 to series of 2009, and then the 200, the memorandum, so on and so forth. So please have those documents in your portfolio. So when we're going to do our monitoring and evaluation in your respective schools, we will be looking on this portfolio. Okay, so all of this can be seen, and we have also other the monitoring tool that is being utilized by our supervisor, the PSD, SSP, ICD, and of course from the division office during our monitoring and evaluation. Maybe you can see that again in the PDE policy for curriculum and instruction. For those 5 components in the monitoring and evaluation, you can see that in there. Okay, so much for that. Thank you very much for listening. So we will be seeing each other in your respective schools. If you have any questions with regards to the implementation of this National Drug Education Program, please do not hesitate to contact us in the division office. Thank you very much, and I may say thank you and vaya con Dios.
Muchas gracias to our program holder, Ma'am Jesusa Gomez, for the in-depth discussion of DepEd Order 12 Series of 2009 and DepEd Memorandum 200 Series of 2016. This one talks about the implementation of National Drug Education Program in schools in which our learners will be benefited. Moving on to our next topic for this morning, which will be about the tobacco control policy in schools and DepEd offices. We have here with us our district nurse of DINAS and also the division focal person of tobacco control, our very maginoo nurse.
Thank you, Ma'am Christine. May respect to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Maharani Jacinto, our ESDS, Dr. Raymond Salvador, and Dr. Jerry Boquinquito, the CID Chief, Dr. Juliet Magallanes, and OIC DOD Chief, Sir Antonio Ganog, to our public schools district supervisor, the school principal, the participants of this convergence, good morning. So, for the orientation on the department order, or DO 48 series of 2016, or the policy and guidelines or the comprehensive tobacco control. We are guided the different laws of the Philippines, in which the policy is likewise guided by the following laws and issuances, like the Republic Act number 9211 or the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003, and also Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control or CFTC. Then the Civil Service Commission Memorandum Circular number 17 series of 2009. And Civil Service Commission and Department Health Joint Memorandum Circular number 2010-01 and the latest Republic Act number 10643 of 2014, otherwise known the Graphic Health Warning Law of RA 10643. As we go further the discussion of the policy and guidelines on the comprehensive tobacco control, we have also the pretest on this particular scenario. For example, at the school level, the blank shall serve as the focal group that will prepare reports on compliance on or violations of tobacco control policy. So sino kaya dito yung at the school level to prepare the report? The Parents and Teachers Association or the Child Protection Committee, the local school board, the Supreme Student Government, or health teachers and none of the above. So saan po sa palagay ninyo ang group who will order or prepare the reports and compliance on violations of tobacco control policies? Just take note for that. Next, number 2, to honor the right of smoker or visitors, the school head allowed the request of a PTA member to have a smoking area set up outside the school 5 meters from the school gate. No? So, ano po ba yung tama? The school head's decision is acceptable because the smoking area is already outside the school, or the school head's decision is acceptable because it strikes and balance between the smoker's right to smoke and the non-smoker's right to enjoy the clean air. Letter C. The school head's decision is acceptable because the request did not come from a school personnel but from a parent. Or the school head's decision may not be ethical but it is not illegal. Or the school head's decision is not acceptable. Or the school head's decision is irrelevant because such matters are already the LGU's concern. So saan po nyo ang palagay nyo ang correct? No? The school head's decisions. Number 3, a store beside the school is selling cigarettes. So marami po tayong mga store beside the school na nagbibenta ng sigarilyo. Ano po ba ang tama dito? This is acceptable as long as they don't sell to minors, or this is acceptable as long as they don't advertise that they sell cigarettes, or it is acceptable if they sell only on days when there are no classes, or acceptable if they can provide proof that they have been given permission by the LGU to do so. Or not acceptable, but the school cannot do anything about it. Or that's not acceptable and the school should report it to proper authorities. So sa palagay ninyo, saan kaya ang tama? So number 4, the newly elected mayor taps schools in monitoring stores within the 100-meter perimeter of schools and report stores in the area that sell or advertise tobacco products. A. The school may not monitor the stores depending on the school's capacity to execute the task. Letter B. The school should monitor the stores only if the LGU initiated to tap them first. Or the school should monitor the stores even without the LGU's initiative to tap schools to do the task. Or the school should monitor the stores as long as the municipal resolution is passed to officialize the LGU's mandate. Or the school should not coordinate with the LGU to avoid local partisan or politics. The school should not monitor the stores because they are not the school's stakeholders. So, the problem na encounter na to nga schools, ing ani ang situations. What else? Number 5. Aside from her teaching job, Mrs. Leah also owned a small sari-sari store. Si Leah is a teacher, napagil siya ay sari-sari store. Because her store is not within the 100-meter perimeter of any school, she thought that it is okay to sell cigarettes but strictly not to minors. A. This is acceptable because her owning store is separate from her being a teacher. Or this is okay as long as she does not sell to minors. B. This is acceptable as long as she will not be seen as the one directly selling the cigarettes in her store. Or acceptable as long as she will not sell cigarettes while wearing her school uniform. This is legal but definitely not an ethical decision she made as a teacher, or she may be considered an administrative offense. So, saan po kaya ang tama? Number 6, a teacher brothers has recently been accepted to work for a tobacco company. To honor the teacher who has been helpful in his education, the brother offered to give her, the teacher, a monthly stipend of 5,000 pesos as a personal gift. So, the teacher should refuse her brother's gift, or whether the teacher receives or refuses the money from her brother as personal matter, or the teacher may accept the personal gift but not use it to work-related purchases, such as school supply, or the teacher may use the money from her brother of school-related functions, but should disclose it to her school head, or the teacher may use the money from her brother for school-related functions, but should not be announced, or the teacher should keep it a secret that she has a relative who works in a tobacco company. On number 7, a tobacco farmer expresses desire to be the president for the PTA of Miss Amelia advisory class. No, tobacco farmer want a president for the PTA. The tobacco farmer may be nominated and elected for other positions but not as a PTA president. B. The teacher should not allow the tobacco farmer to be elected for any PTA position, or the selection or who shall become the PTA president is beyond the teacher's control. Or this should not be a concern at all because the tobacco farmer will perform his duty as PTA president as his own personal capacity. A is acceptable because the tobacco farmer has a student of Amelia's class, or may be allowed as long he would commit to inhibit in decisions regarding tobacco control in the school. Number 8, coordinating with the LGU, a foundation that received donations from a prominent tobacco company has offered to donate computers to the school. The school may accept the donations because the donations are not tobacco items, but something beneficial to the students. Or the school may accept the donations because it comes from a foundation, not from the tobacco company itself. Or the school may accept the donation as long as it will not made public that the donation in part came from tobacco company. The school may accept the donations as long as the clearance from higher DepEd offices, or the school may accept the donations because it was coordinated through the LGU, or the school should not accept the donations. Number 9, the Association of Sari-Sari Store Owners in your area, led by a major supermarket, offered to donate food to a school for its feeding program for teachers and students affected by a recent typhoon in support of the school's disaster response effort. So the school may accept the donation if the sari-sari stores are not retailers of tobacco product, or the school may accept the donations because it will benefit the vulnerable sectors of the society. The school may accept the donations if the donations given informally without any memorandum or agreement of understanding, or the school may accept the donation in the spirit of Filipino solidarity in times of disasters. So, the possible questions or problem na itong informations. Number 10, last questions. Fearing that it would sever his ties with his division superintendent, a teacher kept it a secret that he discovered that the office of the division superintendent received a donation from a tobacco company. So what is the correct? The teacher may be liable for administrative offense for not disclosing this information, or the teacher will not be liable for any offense since he is not directly under the office of the division superintendent, or the fault of the division superintendent is not the fault of the teacher, or that those investigating the case should exhaust all sources of information, and teachers should be exempted from any liability. So these 10 questions are guided for this executive policy of the tobacco control policy guidelines. So as we go further, the DepEd Order number 48, series of 2016, the policy title, the Policy and Guidelines on Comprehensive Tobacco Control, was issued last June 28, 2016, and published on October 3, 2016, and effectivity is 15 days after October 18, 2016. So the scope of this policy are all DepEd officials, all private elementary and secondary schools and respective school heads and management, all pupils and students, as also visitors and other persons who are within the premises of elementary and secondary schools and the DepEd offices. DepEd and school activities held outside DepEd or school premises. Sako po ng polisiyang ito even the outside of the school premises as long as it is a DepEd or school activities. Next, included of these policies as the summary, the policies bans that concern everyone, the absolute smoking ban. It means no smoking within the premises. Second, the policies bans that concern stores like access of restrictions, outdoor and advertising ban, ban and promotional items for minors and sampling restrictions, and also the policies bans that concern the DepEd officials like sponsorship bans, other bans related to tobacco industry interference, and other local tobacco control ordinances sa diha sa atoang municipalities. So, for the smoking ban, o absolute smoking ban, sir, pwede bang mag-smoke sa loob ng schools? So, absolute smoking ban in the premises of the schools. This includes in your canteen, outdoor spaces, toilets, and vehicles parked on the school premises. No? So, including the ban on smoking in all DepEd premises and properties, rented ba na or venues. So, establishing or allowing smoking areas within 10 meters of entrance and exits of such premises. Then, access restrictions of smoke, the provisions to sell or distribute tobacco product to minor. Okay, access restrictions. To buy tobacco product from a minor or a minor to sell, buy a smoked tobacco product. This is stipulated in RA 9211. And also outdoor advertising ban. So refers to the provision or prohibition against the placement of outdoor advertisement on billboards, wall murals, or transport stop stations within the 100 meters from any point of perimeter of the school, public playground, other facilities frequently, particularly by person below 18 years of age. So in short, wala na 100 meters na store within the premises of the school. Dapat wala pong mga tindahan na nagtitinda ng sigarilyo. Then, ban on promotional items for minors. So this refers to the prohibition against items marketed to or likely used to children that bear a name, logo, these are element or brand or marketing activity to tobacco. No? Mga t-shirt, plates, glass containing the tobacco products. And sampling restrictions. Wala pong pinasample na mga sigarilyo on the prohibition on disruption of samples of tobacco products, especially to person below 18 years old. Then, sponsorship ban or the ban of the tobacco sponsorship. of the arts, culture, sports, and concert in all private and public elementary and secondary school, as well as the prohibition on public officials. So, baka may nagbigay ng donations coming from the tobacco company, especially Brigada Eskwela on the graduations. So, pinagbabawal po ang pag-sponsorship ng ganyan. And also, other bans related to tobacco industry interference. So when you talk about tobacco industry, this refers to organization or entities, associations, and individuals who work for and behalf of the tobacco industry, such as, but not limited to, tobacco manufacturer, wholesale distributor, importers of tobacco product, or retailers. Then for the interference, this is the broad array of tactics and strategies utilized by the tobacco industry in order to influence or interfere with the setting and implementation of tobacco control policies. So, what are the prohibitions included to these policies? Unang-una, accepting gift, donation, and sponsorship directly or indirectly from the tobacco industry, including those that may be coursed through the DepEd stakeholders, partners, or third parties that guess, guys, for the CSR projects. Baka may mag-receive po ng donations or mga gift from the tobacco company. Then, other prohibitions, having unnecessary interactions with the tobacco industry other than regulation, supervision, and control. Then, failure to conduct unnecessary transactions with tobacco industry, unjustified refusal by person concerned to correct any perceptions or partnership with the tobacco industry, extending preferential treatment to the tobacco industry, and failure to disclose any financial interest in the tobacco industry. Ito po yung failure to disclose. Accepting any favors analogous to those mentioned above, and failure to disclose engagement in any occupational activity within the tobacco industry or any intention to engage the same to past and current superior. Then other local tobacco control ordinances. Baka may policy po tayo sa mga different municipalities on the tobacco smoke. Then the included policies or summary. So, educate and inform all students, teachers, and non-teaching personnel on the hazards of tobacco use and exposure to secondhand smoke, adverse socioeconomic and environmental consequences of tobacco production and consumption, and tobacco control policies and tactics of tobacco industry. So, education. So, make effective cessation intervention services available and accessible to all students, teachers, and non-teaching personnel in need of such services. As of now, only nurses who train the effective cessation intervention. Baka may gustong mag-stop ng smoking, just approach your respective district nurses. Okay? So, as we proceed on the next part, the tactics of personnel of such services. Next, facilitate enforcement of tobacco control policies in school, such as absolute smoking ban, access restrictions, ban on sponsorship, including so-called CSR, and ensure strict implementation of policies and protection against tobacco industries and interference of the department. So what are the strategies of the schools, and other offices in the DepEd? So IEC in the information, education, and communication, the cessation intervention, the collaborations, partnership, and linkages to the stakeholders, the RHU, the LGU, and other part. The capacity building of school officials, personnel, and students, and monitoring and reporting. So for the IEC, awareness raising activities involving students and education program integrated in the curriculum of graphic health warning templates. Ano po ang mga graphic health warning templates? As you see, the packaging of the cigarette, we have smoking causes stroke, so the ill effect of smoking. Makikita po yan, nakalagay in the graphic health warning. No? So, campaign activities also. And promoting DOH activities like Red Orchid Award. Baka may mga municipality na naka-receive ng mga Red Orchid Award for the best practices of cigarette program na prohibitions like Tambulig and other municipalities na Red Orchid Awardee. Then, the inclusion of the DepEd Order CAC Joint Memorandum Circular in the meeting of agenda. So this is Joint Memorandum Circular number 2010, the protection of the bureaucracy against the tobacco industry interference. So then putting up of smoke-free zone sign. So I hope that all school may nakalagay na smoke-free zone sign or no smoking. Then harm of tobacco smoke, harm of second-hand smoke. For the IEC audiences, your students, and also school personnel. So, for the cessation interventions, baka may gusto mag-stop ng mga personnel who smoke. This refers to the treatment of tobacco dependence, which includes a range of techniques such as motivation, advice and guidance, counseling, telephone and internet support, appropriate pharmaceutical aids of all to encourage the health tobacco users to stop using tobacco and to avoid subsequent relapse. No? Baka mag-relapse. So kailangan po at guided ng ating trained tobacco intervention provider. Next is the Child Protection Committee. So the Child Protection Committee or the CPC shall develop a school-based referral system for the cessation intervention for children, adolescents, and adult. So, diha ang Child Protection Committee. So, for the collaboration of partnership and linkages. So, enforcing tobacco control policies, including identifying institutions and institutions that are using tobacco industry funds and representing the interests of the industry, then pushing for legislation on the tobacco control through advocacy campaign, through media and other venues. Monitoring and reporting violations and ensuring appropriate actions are taken on violations. Also, capacity building and cessation services. We need to collaborate partners through the LGU. Then, inclusion of provision of all memoranda of agreement entered into with donors and partners stating the full commitment of all parties concerned to tobacco control implementation. If ever na mag-donate, so we are on the provision of memorandum of agreement. So it looked like this, the provision of no tobacco industry interest by partners and donors. For the capacity building, so building of the capacity building of school officials, the personnel and students. So the raise awareness of stakeholders like the harm of smoking and exposure to tobacco smoke and tobacco control policies. And the tobacco industry's activities which serve to undermine tobacco control efforts. And also training of counselors and guidance teachers for brave decision intervention for children, adolescents, and adults. So as of now, nurses pa ang na-train for the cessation intervention. Next year, the guidance counselor, if the budget of the in-depth coordinator chairman or coordinator na si budget for this training for the next year, maybe. So, all schools through the Child Protection Committee for the monitoring and reporting. So, sino po ba? O kanino nang galing yung report or monitor? So, all schools through the Child Protection Committee shall monitor the compliance with all report violations of tobacco control policies. So, nanggaling po sa Child Protection Committee. So, the CPC shall prepare a compliance or violation reports and collaborate with local government unit and partners to ensure that action is taken on violation. For example, there is a store na nag-sale og cigarette within 15 meters from your school. So, ang principal ba o si teachers ba ang mubadlong sa maong nga tindahan? No, just make a report, then send this report to the local government unit to make an action for this type of violations. So, kinahanglan, coordinate nimo sa LGU together with the Philippine National Police ang mukuyog sa LGU, then mo visit diha sa maong nga tindahan. For the violations, to address the cases related to prohibition, the DepEd order concerned schools and DepEd authority shall follow the Civil Service Commission, no? Na the guide for resolving the filing cases of tobacco industry interference and the DepEd order number 49 of series 2006 or the revised rules of procedure in administrative cases shall apply to all cases involving violations of tobacco control policies. So kung na mga law na violate, so without prejudice to the filing of criminal and civil actions under the existing laws, rules, and regulations. So as I said, the program of reporting, the progress report as needed, an annual report not later than the first week of December each year. So for the funding, so from the central, regional, and division offices, funds allocated by the central office. For the schools, it will be incorporated in the work and finance division, and the school set up the Child Protection Committee. So, as I said, we are guided, bound with this Executive Order 26 of Series 2017, no, providing for the establishment of smoke-free environment in public and enclosed places. So, between the executive order and the policy of DepEd 48, number 2016, mandated that nothing in this order shall compel person in charge to establish nor prevent them instituting for stringent measures in their building and establishment to better ensure a smoke-free environment. So, for the DO 48, smoking in the premises, building, and grounds of the DepEd and all schools, no, pinagbabawal. Then, duties and responsibilities in person in charge. For person in charge in schools, public playground, youth hostels, recreational facilities for minors, including frequented minors, task force of the concerned municipality on any tobacco product selling within 100 meters from its perimeter. So, kung naatay mga smoke-free task force sa atong municipality, pwede nato diha i-report ang atong mga tindahan nga namaligya within 100 meters from its perimeter. So, diha sa atong 48-2016, nakabutang the access restriction, the outdoor advertising within 100 meters perimeter of the school. Asa man na siya nagsugod? Diha sa inyuhang koral, no? Gate sa school, mag-measure ta with 100 meter distance from the fence of the school. Next, the person in charge refer to the president if we are refer to the provision of the executive order. But the case of the company or corporation, the manager of the in charge or the person in charge, or the administrator in the case of the government or private property. For the policy, the school superintendent or the principal have been specifically identified to be the person in charge for school. So the provision of the no smoking signages, so sa executive order, we have posted the entrance of the area which is or shall be at least 8 by 11 inches in size, where the symbol shall occupy no less than 60% of the signages, while the remaining 40% of the signage shall show the pertinent information as follow. So diha sa atuang policy, this text and size requirement are not specified in the DepEd Order 48/2016. Then, the duties and obligations of person in charge. A person in charge shall. For person in charge, school, public playground, youth hostel, recreational facilities for minors includes those frequented by minors. So, selling, advertising, and promoting cigarettes and other tobacco products not allowed within 100 meters any point of perimeter. So, sa policy, wala na siya naka-state. And other establishments, external procedure through order shall be implemented and enforced within the area which she or he is in charge. So the compliance of smoking, sales, distribution, and advertising of the tobacco smoke. So ensure that all employees in the establishment are aware of this order. So in the policy, procedure for the provision of the EO that are not stipulated, the DO shall be institutionalized. So information about the EO has been disseminated through DM 126 series of 2017. So different provision on RE 9211. So refer po na sa ato ang RE 9211 and the inactions of the principal, this order is punishable in accordance to RE 9211. Na diha mga punishable event sa RE 9211. Next is the provision of the EO. The penalties of violation of this order shall be punishable in accordance with the applicable penalties provided under Section 32 of RE 9211. So in the policy, the revised rules on procedure in administrative case shall apply to all cases involving the violation of tobacco control policies in this order without the prejudice to the filing of criminal and civil actions under existing laws, rules, and regulations. So, smoking cessation program, the provision and the executive order, the LGU, particularly the respective city or municipal health officer, in coordination with the DOH, are enjoined to develop and implement the respective local smoking cessation program. On the DepEd Order number 48, Series 2016, mandates DepEd or all schools to make cessation intervention services, particularly the brief interventions available, accessible to students, personnel in need such services. So sa pagkaroon, wala pa tayong mga intervention room, providing training to counselors and guidance teachers for brief cessation intervention for children, adolescents, and adults who coordinate with the DOH for assistance, and develop and implement school-based referral system for cessation intervention, including counseling and treatment, and provide referrals for students. On the Smoke-Free Task Force, on the provision of the DepEd order, executive order, all cities and municipalities are enjoined to form a local smoke-free task force. So, lahat ba ng munisipyo mayroong smoke-free task force to help the carry out the provision of these orders. DepEd Order 48 mandates the CPC to prepare compliance violation report and collaborate with local government unit. So, school sittings, only the CPC will prepare the compliance and violation report and will collaborate with to the LGU. So, with the smoke-free task force in place, LGUs are expected to be more responsive to the school report. Kung walang report na ma-receive ang LGU hinggil sa mga selling of cigarettes in the stores within nearest to the school, so wala rin pong mga actions na gagawin ang LGU. Kasi walang report galing from the schools through the CPC. So this order states that department shall coordinate closely with other agencies, local government unit, and other institutions for pushing the legislation. What else? So those are the terms or the policies all about the smoking or guidelines of comprehensive tobacco control of the DepEd Order number 48 series of 2016. If you have questions, just reserve your questions during the open forum. Once again, thank you and good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much, Sir Rodel Vargas, for that very comprehensive discussion on the policy and guidelines of tobacco control. So we always have to bear in mind that smoking is banned to all schools and DepEd offices. Moving on to our last topic for this morning on our virtual orientation is will be discussed by nurse of Tambalig National High School. We have no other than the very beautiful and sexy nurse of DepEd Zamboanga del Sur. We have Nurse Jinky Buntog to discuss on the overview on UPC and UNODC. Ma'am Jinky.
Isang magandang buhay po sa ating lahat. My respect to our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Maharani Jacinto, and of course to our two equally handsome ASDSS, Dr. Jerry Bokinquito, and of course to Dr. Raymond Salvador. Sir, good morning. And to our to Ma'am Juliet Magallanes, and to our SGOD Chief, Dr. Antonio Ganog, to all the listeners and the viewers from YouTube and Teams, to the teachers, to the NDEP coordinators, and of course to the students who are listening and viewing us. Good morning to all of you. So for my topic, I will be giving to you the overview of the UNODC and the UPC. So to start with, UNODC stands for the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. So with the main objective in which to assist UN members countries such as the Philippines in their struggle against illicit drugs, crime, and terrorism in all its forms. So the UNODC has its own mandate. So the first mandate is based on the 3 drug control conventions. Number 1 is the UN Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime and its 3 protocols on trafficking in persons. The second is the smuggling of migrants and illicit firearms, and the UN Convention Against Corruption. And the last mandate is the emerging international to conduct field-based technical assistance focused on capacity development of justice systems and other action to combat and prevent drug misuse and crime, terrorism. United Nations, which consists of 193 nations with the purpose of solving crimes and drug-related challenges among countries. and they are the one to conduct research for effective implementation of our anti-drug campaigns. So one of the proven study and research conducted by UNODC is that every intervention should be anchored through prevention science. So, in talking of prevention science, what is prevention science? So, prevention science is the application of a science methodology that seeks to prevent or moderate major human dysfunctions before they occur. Also, prevention science focuses on the development of evidence-based strategies that reduce risk factors and enhance protective factors to improve the health and well-being of individuals, families, and of course, in the communities. So, one of the effective evidence-based program of the UNODC is the UPC, which stands for the Universal Prevention Curriculum. So UPC is a series of curriculum which focuses on the universal prevention on anti-drugs, in which the strategies of learning is based on prevention science. So with its mission, in which to deter the onset of drug abuse by providing information and skills necessary to prevent the problem. So also UPC is introduced by the Colombo Plan. So Colombo Plan is an intergovernment organization which was designed to assist the economic development of all member countries such as the Philippines. So UPC, the UPC's major role in the development has been undertaken by Applied Prevention Science, or the APSI, which was led by Dr. Zili Sloboda, working with international experts in prevention from around the world. So there are principles of UPC. So UPC provide a way forward for prevention that is based on, number one, so scientific research and evidence. Another is the sound quality standards and ethical stance in how prevention should be undertaken. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are two series of UPC. The first is the UPC for managers and supervisors, or the UPC MNS series, and the UPC practitioners UPC-P series. So, let's talk about first about the UPC managers and supervisors series. So, this series is designed for those who are wishing to undertake a significant in-depth study of prevention, such as managers and supervisors in coordinators of prevention programs, or for those who wish to undertake a major program of study in prevention. So there are 9 courses in this series. So the first course is that the introduction of prevention science. So in this course, the overview of the science that underlies the evidence-based prevention and intervention and strategies, and the application of these effective approaches in prevention practice is being taught. So, mo ni siya nga to ang first course. Second course is the physiology and the pharmacology for prevention specialists. So, in this course, we will be given the overview of the physiology and pharmacology of psychoactive substances and their effects on the brain and effect of mood, the cognition, and the behavior, and the consequences of such use on the individual, the family, and even in the community. So the course 3. The course 3 will be the monitoring and evaluation of prevention interventions and policy. So this course gives an overview of the primary evaluation methods used to measure evidence-based prevention interventions and guidance in applying them to real-world prevention settings. So in this training, we are required to have 40 training hours for us to accomplish this course. So the fourth course is the family-based intervention, in which, in this course, we are going to explore how the family as the primary socialization agent of children and the science behind the family-based prevention interventions and the application of such evidence-based approaches to help prevent the onset of substance use in children. So for this course, we are required to have 32 training hours. So the fifth is the school-based prevention intervention, in which this course presents an overview of the school in society, the science behind school-based prevention intervention, and the application of such evidence-based approaches in school settings around the world. So in this course, we need to have 40 training hours to comply for this school-based prevention intervention. The sixth is the workplace prevention interventions. So in this course, it provides an overview of the role of work and workplace in the society. So how stress and other work-related influences affect people's risk of substance use, and the science behind workplace prevention interventions and the application of such evidence-based approaches in work settings around the world. So for this training, we are required to have 24 training hours. The next one is the course 7, which entitled Environment-Based Prevention Intervention. So in this course, it reviews the science underlying evidence-based substance use prevention environmental interventions involving the policy and community-wide strategies. So for this, we need 24 hours of training. So the course 8 will be talking about the media-based prevention intervention, in which it presents the science underlying the use of media for substance use prevention intervention. And for this, we need to have 24 hours training for us to comply with this media-based prevention intervention. And the last one, the last course is that the community-based prevention implementation system. So in this course, it introduced the science underlying the system's approach to prevent interventions and guidance on developing such approaches, as well as the exemplars of evidence-based drug use prevention system. For the training hours, we have 40 training hours for the completion of this course. So, the second series is for the UPC Practitioner Series. So this series is designed to provide knowledge, skills, and competencies to prevention practitioners so that they have a better, more understanding about the key elements of evidence-based prevention and about the most effective evidence-based prevention interventions that are currently available. So for this series, we have UPC 10, the core course. So ito yung pinaka-core sa course nila. No? So the core course is composed of 10 modules representing different aspects of prevention science and its application to practice. So it is designed to give participants a foundation in the knowledge and skills needed to undertake evidence-based prevention programming at the community. So for the hours required, we have 48 hours training. So specialty track 1. So this is all about the family-based prevention. So in this track, it gives an overview of the science inherent in the family-based prevention, interventions, and the methods used to intervene effectively in order to prevent substance use in children and adolescents. It also provides experiential learning in some of the skills used in effective family-based intervention methods to prepare prevention implementers and to participate in such programs. So this track consists of 7 courses, and in this track, we need to have 87 training hours for the completion. Second track. So the second track would be the school-based prevention. So in this track, it introduces the science behind school-based prevention interventions and policies, and the methods used to improve school climate, the strengthen policies, and to intervene directly with classroom prevention interventions It also provides one track for administrators on the effective planning and strategies for addressing school policies and climate, and a second track for teachers primarily on classroom interventions. So in this track, we have 8 courses. So for the training hours, we are required to have 84 training hours for the completion of this school-based prevention. The, the next track is about workplace-based prevention. So this track presents the science underlying workplace-based prevention interventions and policies, and the methods and strategies workplaces can be can use to improve their environment and culture. It also provides experiential learning in planning for workplace policy changes and other substance use prevention efforts, thus empowering employees to avoid substance use. So in this course it consists 7 courses. So for the required hours of training, we have 85 training hours to comply with workplace prevention. The fourth track is the environment-based prevention. So this track reviews the science behind effective environment-based prevention interventions and policies, in which focus on community-wide strategies to prevent tobacco and alcohol misuse, and also the illegal drug trafficking and use of various settings, and the methods used to identify and successfully implement these interventions. It also provides experiential learning in planning for the implementing environmental policy changes and other community-wide substance use prevention efforts. So there would be 7 courses for this track, and we need to have 69 training hours for this course. The next track is the media-based prevention. So in this track, we will be discussing the science inherent in effective media use, substance use, prevention interventions with the focus of developing success persuasive communications. It also provides experiential learning in planning messages and media for reaching parents and youth in substance use prevention and efforts. So for this, it comprises 6 courses. So for the training hours, it would be 86 training hours for the media-based prevention completion. The next track would be the community-based prevention. So this track explores the science underlying the systems, approaches to prevention interventions, and presents primarily methods for planning community-wide implementation systems. So it also provides experiential learning in planning and working with stakeholders to develop prevention intervention services. It consists of 7 courses, and it requires 89 training hours to comply with community-based prevention. And the last is the monitoring and evaluation of prevention interventions and policy for the specialty track 7. So this track presents primary evaluation methods with a focus on monitoring and process evaluation used to measure outcomes of evidence-based substance use prevention interventions and policies. It also provides the experiential learning in planning and monitoring outcomes through exercises and practicum completed at the end of the track. So for this track, we have 8 courses, and then we are required to have 63 training hours for this track. So, so in our department, the Department of Education, we became very much privileged because we were the one of the national agencies in the country that was given funds to implement the curriculum. So I would like to show to you some of the outputs. These are the trainings conducted by the UNODC for the Department of Education, which was participated by the regional and the coordinators around our country. So, mo ni siyang mga activities, no? So for our division, we were planning to conduct UPC very soon. So we were just waiting for the fund allocated for this program, no? And we hope to see you on UPC training soon, very soon. And thank you so much for listening.
So that wraps it all. Our last speaker for this morning. Thank you so much, Miss Jinky Buntog, for the insights that you have shared about UNODC and UPC. So that's all for our different discussions and topics for the virtual orientation on National Drug Education Program. But before we will end this day, may I call in first, again, in the virtual platform, Ma'am, our program holder, Ma'am Jesusa Gomez, for the closing remarks and the acknowledgement.
Okay, good morning once again. We would like to extend our thanks and gratitude to all the working group for this event to be successful. Thank you very much, of course, to the top management for allowing us to conduct this virtual training. And of course, to our ever supportive OIC, SJOD Chief, Dr. Antonio Ganog, and to our Medical Officer 3, Dr. Vincent Kreisberg A. Aliman, and of course to our NIC, Ma'am Amy Alonzo. I know it has been a long weeks of a battle of this week-long celebration of our OK sa DepEd. Of course, to our moderator, the OKD Queen, Ma'am Kirsten Eileen Di Sabanal, been so busy these 2 weeks for the OKD programs, from the kickoff down to this the virtual orientation, and we have also another program that has been conducted there down in Mardale Hotel for the Alzheimer's awareness. Okay, and also of course not to forget the people behind the success of this virtual orientation, of course, with your participation online, to our NDEP coordinators, district and school coordinators, our school heads, and everyone, the school health, my school health family. Thank you very much for your undying support. And of course, to our speakers for today, we have our brilliant speakers with me, Sir Rodel Vargas and Ma'am Jinky Buntog. And of course, to our PMT from Sir Christian Jan Hubay. And of course, thank you, Ma'am Amy, for being here with us just this morning. And again, Ninja Move to Mardale. And of course, to Dr. Vince, thank you very much for gracing our programs every day. And of course, to the ICT staff, thank you very much, Sir John Ray, Sir Mamart, and of course to our ITO, Sir Chester Bayoko. Thank you very much for having this wonderful platform for us to be delivered, this program to be delivered to you in your own schools. So I guess at least we have learned something from this orientation, and for further in-depth understanding of this um, program, please refer to the issuances that I have mentioned a while ago. So in any way, we will, since we are now in face-to-face activities, then maybe we can have also another seminars, conferences for the in-depth program. So I hope that our program will be implemented this school year 2022-2023, since it has been hibernated for how many years since the pandemic. And I know that you have this passion of this for the help, no, to of our children, especially our students, to say no to drugs. Okay, so pa ba ko'y nalimtan? Thank you. Basta I want to thank everyone for everything from the beginning and to not the end. So we still have much of activities and a lot to offer to our children. So muchas gracias once again, and thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, our program holder, Ma'am Jesusa Gomez, and congratulations for initiating this virtual orientation on the National Drug Education Program. I hope all our viewers and participants for today's event have gained insights and learnings from the different topic discussed by our brilliant facilitators. So once again, thank you so much everyone for tuning with us. This is your host, Miss Kirstin Eileen Sabanal, saying that your life is your choice. Choose to be drug-free and help our learners to say no to drugs. Thank you so much, and once again, a healthy morning.